Hey, Guy Cochran here today, and we're going to be taking a look at some recorders and mixers and just how far that we've come in audio for video. So just a few years ago, we had to get our XLR mics into our cameras with these boxes from companies like Beach-Tech, and these were hugely popular. Well, companies have evolved, and some of them even to the point of coming out with $200 items like this. So this is similar to what we're talking about, but without the quality. So this is a Tascam DR-60, and what it does is it brings XLR in, and then you can spit the audio back out to 1/8" mini plug. So cheap device. It records to an SD card, so very similar. So if you're on a budget, I would recommend this one. This is in the $200 range. So what do you get when you go up to the MixPre-3? Well, you get things like this thing here called Wingman for an additional $60. You would get this USB dongle. You would be able to plug that into the USB port here, and then you would get the ability to start and stop record. You can name your tracks. You also have your file list, so you can see what the file names are. Really cool feature because the views on the screen are pretty small, especially I just had a customer in today that was looking at getting the MixPre-10, and this is the size of the VU meters, and he's an older gentleman, so he was saying that this is tough to see. So what the difference is also in the Tascam model is you don't have these kind of touchscreen controls. So I can go in here on the MixPre and I can go to the home menu and I can do things like adjust my limiters. So basically, limiters allow you to take in some pretty hot signals and have them brought down so that you don't overdrive your recording. One of the major differences between all of these is the ins and outs. So you'll notice that the 3, the 6, and the 10 have different ins, and then there's also different outs. So I want to show you guys something else. Remember, we're starting at the $650 level here, whereas a few years ago, this is an older sound device. This is the 702. This was $2,700 back in the day. To put this in perspective, you could now buy arguably the best shotgun microphone in the world, the Schoeps MiniCMIT, and a MixPre-3 for the same price as what you used to be able to just get the recorder for. So I mean, guys, we've come just so far in terms of great audio for video. I mean, a lot of people will buy a lens. Like I bought this lens. Again, this is just to show you also how big these are. I bought this lens for about $2,200. So to be able to get audio that is basically the same thing that you would record a multi-million-dollar feature with for the price of a lens is pretty incredible. So remember, audio is 50% of your project. I would spend appropriately. So between the Tascam and the MixPre, to me, I would spend the extra to have analog limiters, to also have timecode. So this one has timecode via HDMI. Let me put my baby away here. You also have timecode HDMI on the 6, and then on the 10, you have timecode not only via HDMI, but also you have timecode via BNC. So some of the bigger cameras, like the camera I'm shooting with right now, the Ursa Mini Pro, have BNC timecode inputs. And also, not to just be a total sound devices fan, there are recorders like the Zoom F4 that have really good quality preamps. And again, just a great time to be getting audio for high quality audio for video. Something like this is way less than $1,000. There's also the F8 that's less than $1,000. So I want to give you guys an idea of the size of these, and also just talk about some of the features. One of the things that you do get on some of the bigger recorders, such as the 633, are the ability to have outputs. So you've got XLR outputs, whereas on these MixPres, you have an 1/8" mini plug, which is great if all you're doing is going into a DSLR's 1/8" mini plug microphone input. That's what these are meant to do. All these are meant to do is to feed directly into this smaller 1/8" mini. But here, if you did have to go into like 2 broadcast cameras, you have these routing controls, X1 and X2, so you can go into the menu system and you can tell which microphones, like 1 and 2 could go to camera 1, and 3, 4, 5, and 6 could go over to camera 2. So very powerful routing with the 633. And the other interesting thing here is that we have power options directly built in. So this is the Sony NP F970. Some of you guys probably have a lot of these, and it would plop right onto the back. Well, with these MixPres, you would actually have to go to a company like Hawkwoods and get the SD2. This is the SD1. The SD2 allows you to use DV style batteries. This one called the SD1 allows you to feed a 4-pin Hiroshi. So another difference, 4-pin Hiroshi is on the Zoom, 4-pin Hiroshi is on the 633, and 4-pin Hiroshi is how I'm powering the MixPre-10. So it's built into the back here. And I've got a D-tap. So this is a Anton Bauer-style battery with a D-tap connector. And I'm powering this MixPre-10 directly with that 4-pin Hiroshi. Now, where do you see 4-pin Hiroshi in use a lot? Well, in sound bags. This is typical. Well, this is a very small. So speaking of lightweight, this is how small things are getting. Just to put this all in perspective, a sound guy could be driving 6 channels of wireless or 5 channels of wireless in a boom. So you could go like this. You would have your mixer in there. Then you would have something like this BDS unit here. So this is a battery distribution system, and you can clip this however you want to clip it. But basically, this would give you your battery. So this is an NP1 style battery adapter, but you can also use a D-tap style one, and you would throw your battery in there. And then these would allow you to power your wireless system. So off of one battery, I could power my 2 Electrosonics SRBs, and that way all my electrodes would be in here, and this would be my total kit, and I could power it all on and off by flipping a single switch. So again, this is a battery distribution system, and this is the 633. So lots of powering options. Actually, one more. This is the just a USB-C, so you can just wall wart if you want to do AC power right into that USB-C, and you would be able to power the MixPre line. So some of the other cool features of these MixPres are the gain controls. So you have gain, then you have your faders. Right now I've got channels 1, 2, and 3 active. I've got my wireless lapel, my COS11, my Sanken COS11 that I'm using with my Sennheiser 2000 series wireless going into 3. And I've got, let's see, going into 2, I've got nothing. And going into 1, I've got this Rode NT2A large diaphragm condenser microphone. So if you guys actually wanted to hear the Schoeps, I don't know how good this will sound, but it should sound very good. So this is, again, the Schoeps CMIT. This is a new microphone, and all of these different recorders have headphone outs with the 1/8" mini plug. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in. And one of the features of all these is that you can route what you want to hear. So you can route left and right, just left, You can solo tracks, so you can hear just what you want to hear. So if I wanted to solo 2, I can press 2. Actually, solo 2 is already there. So solo 2. Hey, hey, hey. Oh. Wow. I'm in love. So this is a very, very reflective room that we're in right now. Bare walls. You can see that I've got this white desk. I've got traffic going by outside our store. But wow, off access. There's a fan over there underneath my monitor. Again, this is the Schoeps CMIT. This is the MiniCMIT. So they have the CMIT 5U, which you may have seen before, which is the longer one. But man, these microphones sound like you're there. These are very, very natural. Again, arguably the best microphone in the world right here. I don't know, you tell me. Is there a comment if there's something better than a Schoeps CMIT? You tell me. Well, indoor, I probably would have liked a 641 instead of a shotgun indoors. But man, this would be a powerful package. Any of these coupled with this microphone. All right. What else I wanted to show you guys is just the size of these units. So I got a can of pop here, so you can just see how small that is. Because in the pictures, man, I can't put this mic down. I love it so much, but I'm going to go ahead and unsolo this track and put it down. But again, there's a touch screen. Man, it's just really hard for me to put this down. All right, so we've got this great touch screen where we can go into the menu system. We can see our VUs again, or we can have the VU via the larger display. This is an iPad Pro that I'm using, so it's a 12-inch screen. But in this touch screen, we have so many things that we can go in and do as far as routing, as far as backing up. You can actually record to not only the SD, but you can record to a USB stick at the same time. So powerful, powerful features. $1,799 for the MixPre-10 T. There's also the M that'll be $1,499. $1,499 without timecode in. So the gentleman that came in today, why I got all this stuff out, he's recording pianos and things like that. So still a very small recorder. He has a 788, which man, those were like $4 or $5 grand back in the day. So again, it's just, it's insane that these older units cost so much and now you get the same kind of quality for a fraction of the price, which leaves you to be able to buy more microphones. I mean, here we can start out with something, you know, simple, $250 Rode NTG1 with a $200 Tascam DR-60. This is going to be just a good system. So this is like good, better, best type thing. That's a good system. But then you can go into, you know, Cashmere preamps and analog limiters with the MixPre-3 to mount this to the bottom of your camera. You've got the Q20, you got Q20 under here, or you could throw it in a bag. So that the nice thing about taking this off the camera is that now you could have somebody monitoring the audio and adjusting as needed without shaking the camera as it's shooting. Because just to show you how small this setup can be, this is a Sony A7S. That would line up just about like that. But if I'm a one-man band, this would work like this. But I would really say get an audio person, or if you are the audio person, you know what I'm talking about. Get this so that you can monitor the VUs, you can make sure that everything's cool, let the camera guy concentrate on focus, framing, white balance, shutter speed, iris, all that stuff. And then sound guy can just concentrate on sound. So this is a spectacular package for $650. I think we've covered almost everything. We got the ins. Again, this one only has the stereo out, headphones, aux mic line, mic in, and then you can power this one via AA batteries, or you can get the Hawkwoods, do Hiroshi, and power other things via battery distribution unit. So wow, lots of information. I hope that you guys enjoyed all this. If you have any comments, please feel free to leave them below. If you have any questions about getting any of this, you can shoot me an email. I'm guy@dvestore.com. Have a good one.